Life as You Own It with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller.
Remember, you got questions, we've got answers. You may not take the time to educate yourself about the single largest investment and opportunity you have, that investment in the roof over your head in real estate.
We talk about your home, financing, making investments in real estate. We give you the facts, folks.
You know, it's just good old-fashioned horse sense that we like to talk about. And we also throw in some other horse stuff, too, just for fun.
All right, I'm Mark McDougall, and he's
Craig Miller, baby.
all right. It's another weekend. Hopefully, you are staying cool wherever you are. I guess if you're in Alaska, you're probably cool, but everything's relative, even in the summer. If it gets 70 and you're in Anchorage, you're probably going, "Oh my gosh, it's hot!" Right?
Depending on what time of day it is.
Alaska listeners, you can confirm that because you can call us at what's the number, Craig? What's the number, Craig? Do you know?
It's 1-800-270-6425. That's 270-6425.
That's right. If you're checking us out for the first time, we think you're in for a treat. You're going to get an hour of us talking about a lot of treats and tricks, talking about what's probably your single largest investment you'll make in your life, which is investment in real estate, the roof over your head, whether you rent or whether you own. We've got some great information for you each and every show. Also, we're going to tell those of you that are current homeowners or thinking of purchase where the national average is for interest rates and a lot of other informative
applicable things that you will actually apply to your day-to-day
everyday life, folks. So we like to do it in a fun fashion. And if you check us out, you can go to the podcast, go to iTunes. You can see the video podcast, and you will see exactly what we wear each and every weekend. And while some of you that have listened lately, I like to comment on Craig's choice of shirts. Usually they're at least 2 sizes too small, but that's another story.
You know what? Listen, what size is this shirt, Mark?
That is a medium.
No, it's not. What is it, Rosa?
That's a small, and
large.
it should be. It's
Oh,
a
it should have been
small,
extra
and it
large.
should
It's
be
a large.
a large.
Sorry, it's a large. It should have been extra large. It's not my fault that my guns.
But folks, you gotta check out the video podcast because, well, I don't know. I talk with my hands a lot, and Craig likes to, point
Do
things
this.
out, but he does it in the fashion of look over there. Oh, I think it's over here. All right, just kidding. We
we
like
all
to have a
know
lot
it's
of
over
fun.
there.
That's right. We like to have a lot of fun, but we want to make sure you leave the hour a little smarter than before you joined us.
Hopefully
So,
smarter than us.
that's
We want
not
you to
going to be. That's going to be an easy thing to accomplish. Okay, so today's show jam-packed. If you're planning a summer vacation but don't quite have the funds in the budget, we've got some great ideas for you and your family to enjoy your summer without cheating on your budget. Hey, speaking of family vacations, Craig, what did you do last weekend?
You know what? I went with some wonderful people, excluding one in particular person. Just kidding. No, I enjoyed spending time with a group of fantastic people, including my little daughter Elizabeth and Mark McDougall, of all folks.
That's right.
In Idaho. What was the town we were in besides? We went to Boise, of course.
Crouch. Near Crouch, Idaho. If you've ever been in Idaho, it's a small town. There's lots of small towns near mountains. It was beautiful. It was a lot of fun. And Craig and I had no access to email or voicemail or really anything for almost 4 days.
There was one spot up in this mountain area where my daughter saw this monster mule deer buck and stalked in within 10 yards of it. We got to put that on. We're going to put that on the YouTube video. We want you to see this. It's crazy.
Craig's daughter spotted it first. I don't know
she
if that's
spotted it over 100 yards
hey,
away.
Daddy, he's videotaping her walking through the woods, and then you hear her go, "Hey, Daddy, what's that over
Look
there?"
at that deer.
And a huge mule deer buck.
And I had her stalk in on it, record it. She got within 10 yards of this thing before it finally took off. She could have just got it with a spear if she wanted to. But anyway, that was awesome. My phone worked up there.
Yours did?
For a few minutes. Yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
that was the only shot I had at it.
Okay, so
it was great.
We had a great time, and even though Craig kept asking me, he's like, we were up there camping. He goes, let's just go off and camp a couple days ourselves in the mountains. I refused, but it was a fantastic.
We did sleep in a tent. My daughter and I did. Anyway.
That's right.
We slept 4 or 5 nights in a tent. It got real cold at night. It was good though.
So
my snoring kept the camp alive.
So we've got some great suggestions. Probably one of them would be including camping because that could be an affordable vacation. Also, our friends at Jonathan and Drew Scott. Do you know who those folks are, Rosa? It's the nod.
Property Brothers, right?
Yes, from the HGTV hit series. Property Brothers share their best home buying and selling tips later in the hour. And whether you're buying or selling, we're going to remind you of the tax advantages of home ownership. But don't forget these little gems from Uncle Sam. They truly are difference makers when you crunch the numbers. And we all know the significance of July 4th, right, Craig? It's
Independence Day.
Oh, is that it? What happened on Independence Day?
Well, that's when we declared and won our independence from England.
There you go.
But it's a great thing.
But what happens after the 4th of July could save you a few bucks. We've got your best deals that, just like summer, heat up after the 4th. Like we say, don't sign on the dotted line unless you can explain it to your friends, family, your 4-year-old, your dog. Well, maybe the last two, they don't have to understand it fully. But we've got some reminders for you about what to do before you sign a contract. And we mean any contract. And we're also going to give you a little public service announcement about weight loss advertisements, instant hair growth pills, and debt settlement companies.
They all work.
That and
That's
so
the
much
bottom line.
more. And right now, we're going to jump into the national average on interest rates. Craig's going to share with you. And don't forget, if you stay tuned throughout the course of the hour, you're going to get some real live should you stay or should you go scenarios. You give us your scenario. We give you the advice. Should you stay in that relationship? Should you stay in that mortgage? Should you stay in that rental or that home? Or should you get out of it and move on down the road with a better opportunity? So email us or call us. Email us questions@lifeasyouownit.com or call us 800-270-6425. If you need some advice, you got a should you stay or should you go scenario, or you just want to say hello, we'd love to hear from you.
LifeAsYouOwnIt.com, folks. As I go into these interest rates, make sure you check it out. LifeAsYouOwnIt.com. Go to the website, read the break-even formula, learn how to calculate your break-even. When you're refinancing a home, it oftentimes costs money, sometimes lots of money. So actually what you've done the day that you close on that refinance is you've stepped a few steps back. You're no longer saving money, you're actually spending money, and then it takes months and months and months to catch up with that interest savings, hopefully. You need to know what that entails. Just because your payment's going down, doesn't matter how strapped you feel in your budget or what debts you're paying off if you feel good about that. Please do the math. Do yourself a favor. Don't just react and do something, take advantage of what you think is a good opportunity based on one aspect alone. Have all your facts straight. As I go into rates, I just want to remind you, you've got to be well informed, and like we say, if you can't explain to somebody else exactly what you're doing and why, then you need to talk to somebody who can explain it for you before you sign on the dotted line. That's including a purchase loan as well. Mark, I have a question for you before I go over these rates. Do you like pumpernickel bread?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just check. Check out this week's YouTube video to find out if Mark really likes pumpernickel bread or not. You have to check that out. I love pumpernickel, by the way. 30-year fixed rates, 4.24 on a 30-year fixed. That's versus 4.18 the previous week, so rates moved the other direction a little bit. They had gotten a little better from the prior week. So over the last 2 weeks, we've seen them go down a little, right back up where they were. Remember, folks, this is the national average. It's based on a $200,000 loan amount, 20% or more equity, and excellent credit. Your scenario may vary slightly. Fees and costs vary slightly. These are just a general guideline of where the national averages come in over the past week. You may be getting a lower rate quote than that. You may be paying a lot more in fees. Maybe the rate quote you're getting slightly higher than that, and you're paying no fees or very little fees. It's all relative to the math that we mentioned earlier that you need to do. 15-year, 3.31 versus 3.23. Again, almost 1/8% movement. And the prior week before the 3.23, we were at about 3.20 or so. So it's, up, down a little bit there. 5-year ARM, that's where the rate's fixed for 5 years. It's amortized over 30. Rate can adjust after 5. That's 3.69 versus 3.70. Virtually no movement there. And FHA 30-year fixed rates, 3.82 versus 3.77. So again, in general, folks, rates moved slightly in the upward direction. What do we recommend that you do? We recommend, again, that you do the math, that you look at your transaction. If it makes sense, lock it in and move forward. You'll never know where the bottom is or if rates are going to be better or worse until after you've passed the moment. So don't sit around on the sidelines waiting for 1/8% or even 1/4% of interest thinking that's going to make such a big difference and miss an opportunity altogether. Mark, what does that music mean besides that you like pumpernickel once again?
That's right, folks. If you, okay, pumpernickel. I was eating a sandwich, but I was paying very close attention to what Craig was saying.
Okay.
I'm on the edge of my seat every time he speaks. All right, folks, you know the drill. Should you stay or should you go? Richard in Newark, New Jersey emailed the following. I currently rent an apartment, but I just received a big promotion at work that I have been waiting a year for. So I'm thinking I may be able to buy a house or a condo. I pay $2,200 a month rent now. Based on what I'm looking for, I would pay $2,600 to $2,700 with everything included. One realtor said, I better buy now or I'm going to miss the big boom, but I'm afraid the market may crash. Should I stay or should I go?
When we come back from the break, folks, we're going to address Richard. Maybe it's Ricarda. We'll check into that. Back in a few, like a unit.
All right, I apologize. Before the break, we queued up a question from Richarda.
Ricarda is her name.
Ricarda, sorry. I thought it was Richard, and that there was a typo, but it's Ricarda from New Jersey. I apologize, Ricarda.
It's either
And-
Richard A.
Or
in Newark, New
Ricarda.
Jersey, or
Or,
Ricarda. And I'm
as
calling
I,
Ricarda on this.
off air, or you would have seen if you watched the video podcast, I question if it's possibly the daughter of Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, it might be. So let's.
Deplane!
So what did she say? She's rented an apartment. She just received a big promotion she's been waiting a year for. So congratulations, Ricarda, on your promotion. And she thinks she may be able to buy a house or condo now with her increased income. So she's paying $2,200 in rent. She's looking at a mortgage that would maybe between $2,600 and $2,700 with all the things included. I think she means taxes, insurance, and the like. A realtor she spoke to said she should buy now before she misses the big boom in the market. And her father says he thinks the market's due for another crash in the next year or two. So she's not sure what to do. She said, I'm really not sure what to do. Guys, keep renting or buy. What do you guys say? What do we say, Mark? Stay or go?
Well, I have a couple questions, but I'm going to say,
See?
I'm saying she should stay.
10 seconds or less.
Stay. That's what I said I said I have a couple questions. I said stay. Jumped into it. I didn't want to go down the path of Craig.
Stay renting.
Yeah, continue to rent.
And
I've got too many
why?
questions that I need answered before you make the decision to buy. What you've given me is you pay $2,200 a month and you're going up to $2,600 or $2,700. I'm questioning how that reconciles as far as space wise to go up that much in overall cost. That's a big chunk, considering you usually get more house for your money than you do apartment whenever you buy versus. So I have questions about potentially you McMansioning it before you need to. So I'm going to say stay until you have a very specific budget and speak to a mortgage planner. And I want to know are you stretching farther than you need to on your first purchase?
And I'm going to concur with that. I think the motivator there, as she describes it, is that maybe she's been told that she needs to buy now before she misses a big boom in the market. Folks, I don't think there's going to be a big boom in the market. Do I think home prices will steadily increase? Potentially. But I don't think it's going to be such a big boom that she has to pay much more for the same property. My guess is that if she's looking at condos and that all-included everything she was referring to, there's probably some condo dues or association dues of some kind that are driving that payment a little bit higher. You really need to make sure the bang for the buck, not bunk. Don't bang for the bunk.
Don't fall for the bunk.
Mark,
Get the bang for the buck.
if we're talking about banging for buck here, we want to make sure that you have done the net math to make sure you're getting a true net gain. Okay, so next item up for bid. What are we going to talk about with the fun family activities?
All right,
this
so
summer,
folks,
Mark?
all of us should be living on a budget. Some of us have smaller budgets than others, but you've got to make sure that if you're listening to this show, I'm challenging you. Set a budget. Be disciplined in your budget. Have a financial plan. It begins with monitoring how much you spend and agreeing with yourself and your family that you're not going to extend beyond it.
And I'm
So,
going to challenge you
challenge me.
to have
Pepsi
some
challenge.
fun family activities this summer on top of budgeting.
Right.
So we're going to bring the two together, kind of stir it up in the pot.
Make it
This is what
like
you
a
get.
pumpernickel sandwich.
Mark, what are the
With
7 fun family activities that we've pulled together here on that budget? I don't care whether you're on a tight budget or not. These are just good old-fashioned good times.
Here's one that's gained a lot of popularity over the last couple of years. This is a staycation.
Yeah.
Not out of the box there so much, but with rising costs of gas, and gas is expensive these days. Probably $4 a gallon, national average close to it. Many families are opting to stay local and to play tourists in their own backyards. Visit your local tourism office. Go online or get tips from your family and friends on fun things to do in your neighborhood. Also, look into nearby attractions such as museums, historical sites, parks, farmers markets, and zoos. Make dinner together, all people participating, and end the evening with family game night or a movie.
Yep, awesome. And you know what? Best tip I can give any of you mothers or fathers out there, or teenagers for that matter, if you're going to do the staycation, leave the cell phone. In the
Boom!
Turn
I
it
was
off.
right there. That was good. Yeah!
Turn off the
That was
cell
one.
phones.
Turn it off. Turn off the cell phone.
Everyone's
turn
cell
off the
phones
email,
go in the
turn off
same
the
drawer or basket.
And agree as a
That
fan.
way,
Go,
you know.
hey, 4 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, whatever time it is, block aside a period of time. You shut it off and you enjoy each other's company.
Yes. Number 2. What's another one, Mark?
Go outside. Kids love to get active and explore the great outdoors. Find some local hiking trails, take a family bike ride, head to a public lake, beach, or pool, walk to a nearby playground, or simply play ball. Play ball, baseball, kickball, most anyone can play kickball. That's a good one that's
Yeah.
not as hard on the old body.
We
But
learned about badminton, though, while we were in
badminton's a little
Idaho.
more challenging. Throwing a frisbee or playing badminton, those might take some hand-eye coordination.
I was surprised
You
at the
obviously
lack
have.
of badminton skills that I witnessed in Idaho by a few
They're hunters. They're not
unnamed
badmintoners.
family members of yours, Mark, who couldn't hit that little birdie to save their life. Okay, I came in and wrecked that game, though.
You know what? I didn't get a play. They said anyone over the height of 5'6" can't play. So that's how you
Yeah.
get in on that.
No, I don't know how I got in there.
Yeah.
But I'm 6'8".
With heels.
Anyways,
Foot
moving
and a half heels.
moving to
all right.
number 3.
Summer
Besides that.
movies and concerts. I went. Kansas City has a 22-year Shakespeare in the Park. It's fantastic. You sit on a blanket. It's free to go into, though they do take donations because that's the only way they're able to put on such a great president every year for 22 years. In Kansas City, look up Shakespeare in the Park, and in your local community or city, I guarantee there's free culture and entertainment that you can participate in. But many movie theaters offer summer matinee promotions that can make a fun family outing and save you lots of money. Also, many communities offer movie and concert nights in the park where you can enjoy some free entertainment under the stars and possibly even meet some new neighbors.
Drive-in movie theaters are great. You can usually bring your own food and snacks and stuff,
Yeah,
so it saves
it's
a
a
bunch
fun
of
one.
money on the $27 bucket of popcorn. There's another one. Number 4, visit a national park.
Yeah.
How about visiting a national park? We kind of did that, though. That's kind of where we were near a national park or in one in Idaho there. But there are almost 400 parks under the national park system here in the United States. So including some of the well-known destinations such as the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, and Yosemite, there's other lesser-known national parks just as beautiful and just as fun, though. So you can go, take the whole family. It's enjoyable for little kids, adults alike. You're going to spend maybe $10 to $20, and you get to check out some potentially
These
wildlife.
truly are treasures, folks. I mean, if you can take a vacation, and it is a little more expensive, you pack into the car and you pack your cooler and all those things, spend it on your drive time. Yellowstone, I've been just phenomenal. But if you've got parks near you that you can take advantage of these amenities, and most of them will have, and even in Missouri or even in many of your states, there's going to be some parks that have some beautiful features, whether it's waterfalls, whether it's open meadows. Get a lot of those in western Kansas.
I have a video of Mark frolicking in an open meadow.
He does.
And
We're
I
not gonna
do.
post it, though. I was doing
And
my
I'm
Laura
serious.
Ingalls Wilder imitation. So when we pulled up to the campsite, there was a big, small, like a meadow area with a waist-high grass. So right away, I figured Craig would appreciate it. I ran to the meadow and then ran towards him doing my Little House on the Prairie, young Laura imitation.
It was sweet.
Yeah, it was.
Touch
The
my
arms
heart.
were. My wife goes, "Do it again. Flail your arms more." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. Good on the arm flailing." All right. Love the music. All
That
right,
was Mark. When Mark talked about hanging out in the park, remember he used to get a blanket in Liberty Memorial?
Yeah, I did. Watch the fireworks on Memorial Day.
Liberty Memorial.
Watch
It's
the
a good
fireworks.
place to go.
Honoring our veterans
Free.
and those that have served. Also, folks, you can host a block party. Speaking of neighbors, consider hosting a neighborhood potluck party. Get your kids involved in creating invitations or flyers and take a family walk to personally deliver the invites door to door. You'll probably be surprised at the friendly reception you receive from your neighbors. This is also a great way to introduce an informal neighborhood watch program once people get a chance to meet each other. I love that one. That is
Yeah.
probably my favorite one. Number 6, Craig, what is it?
Take a class, and just get some class in general is what advice we'd give some folks, including ourselves. But take a class. Local stores and businesses often offer free classes, workshops, and demonstrations during the summertime. There's topics ranging from home repair, gardening, beading, and artwork, which I'm not sure what beading is. Check out stores like Home Depot and Michael's, but you can do fun things like that.
You know, I always walk up Home Depot,
Libraries
see
also.
the schedule of classes that week, and I'm like, oh, those look cool. Maybe I need to tell someone about them. And then next is, last one is back to basics. You know what? I can't listen to the music too long without jumping into our should you stay or should you go scenario, folks. All right, Craig, you ready?
I'm ready.
We have Liv in Memphis called 800 number to ask. Mark and Craig, you guys always seem to shoot it straight. So here's my situation. My husband of 12 years is a lazy deadbeat. He has really held down the job, I'm serious, folks, for the last 10 years, and the longest he's kept one is 4 months. I owned our home before we were married, and I'm thinking about selling and moving in with my sister. He has spent money on credit cards nonstop for years, and we now have $64,000 in credit card debt, mostly in his name. So my question is, can I sell my house since his name is on it, and take the money, pay off the debts in my name, and move on down the road without any of his creditors coming after me? All right, folks, that's a big one. We're going to answer it when we come back.
All
Mike
right.
showed it.
That's the big one. All right, friends, we are back. We are back to address Sweet Liv. Sweet Liv in Memphis. She called in that 800 number, as Mark said.
And you know what? We shouldn't have laughed, though.
It is what it
is.
is.
It is kind of
I
funny.
mean,
You're the one calling your current husband a deadbeat, and I guess
It's not
you'd rather
funny.
laugh than...
we
yeah,
want to
it's
laugh. We feel
unfortunate.
bad for you. We feel bad for him to be called such names. We feel sorry for you for dealing with it. So here's the deal, Mark. What's the bottom line here? He's blowing money left and right. They got $64 grand worth of credit card bills. She owned a home before they were married, it looks like, and she's thinking about just bailing and moving in with old Sissy, selling the house and paying off her side of the debts and rolling on down the river.
And she's in
As Tina
Memphis, so
Turner
there's an
would do.
important thing that we don't know, is that we don't know the laws associated with marital property in the state of Tennessee. So there's two things I'm going to tell you. One is, before you go selling the house and moving out, you need to consult with an attorney. And you need to identify what your rights are to that marital property. You've been married for 12 years. Hate to tell you this, there's a good chance that he is going to be entitled, a very good chance that he may be entitled to a portion of that equity if you sell the house. But that's to be determined based upon your state laws, and also the negotiation of your divorce. So contact an attorney. Definitely, if you're saying he's a deadbeat, he hasn't worked, he's racked up credit card debt, doesn't sound like you have much of a partnership in the way of a marriage anyway.
Sounds like a sweet, sweet man to me.
Yeah, so our recommendation is, if that's given the information you're giving us, get out of the relationship. Sounds like if you're calling him a deadbeat, it's not a positive relationship to be in. Get out of it. Consult an attorney about the divorce proceedings to include the property settlement. Do your math. Do your homework. Make sure you understand exactly what you're getting into. And my strong encouragement is to treat him like a human, a person that deserves respect, and try to be as dignified in this process as you can, so that you can move on with your lives if that's what one of you's decided to do. So,
Always a good idea to seek some marital counseling.
See,
They may be able to help him with his deadbeatedness.
maybe he can get undead beated.
Beated. All right. So,
All right.
hey, folks, we were talking about 7 fun things we can do. We'll just wrap up that.
Yeah, we
But,
got to move to a more
get
lively
some
note.
back
It's a
to
little
basics,
depressing.
by the way. Just don't forget to have little simple backyard campouts, or maybe do a little neighborhood car wash, make a lemonade stand, whatever. Turn your kids loose.
Have you
in the park,
found that?
see what happens.
You know what? I think lemonade stands, those are fun. You don't see those often anymore. And it's a great way for kids to get a little extra money. I mean, every time I drive by and there's a young kid selling lemonade in my neighborhood, I'm compelled to go and give them a buck and, get their glass of warm lemonade that often has a little bit of dirt. Maybe some
It's
flies
very
on
watered
it.
down because they keep
Watered
trying to increase
down.
profit margins
Yeah, I
throughout
think it's
the
that,
day.
or who knows what it is. But
Starts off very
nothing
tart.
beats the smiling face of a young child when they've
make a
experienced
sale.
a little entrepreneurialism.
Don't do what my brother and I did. Decided we saw too many garage sales for several months during the summer one year. We decided to have a toy sale. We sold all of our toys off for pennies on the dollar. Found ourselves with a handful of cash, which wasn't nearly enough to even replace a tenth of the toys. And we had an angry mother who went around knocking door to door trying to get all of our toys back. But anyway, we did that, and I was in kindergarten. It was a good
That's a
entrepreneurial move.
that's a good first step.
I
Isn't
want
it?
some dough.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay, so let's jump into our friends Jonathan and Drew. Those of you that haven't checked out the show Property Brothers on HGTV, you should. It's fun, entertaining, and the ladies, Rosa, you think they're attractive gentlemen, right?
They're okay.
She says they're okay.
They're no
not your
Craig
type. They're not your type necessarily.
they're no Craig.
Okay,
They're
that's okay,
attractive.
but
They are
they
attractive.
have a pretty big following. They seem. We've interviewed them on the show before. Seem like just down to earth, great guys. A lot of fun and some great information that they wanted us to share with our listeners. And number one is do your homework when buying a brand new home. Jonathan says in order to pump these homes out as fast as the builders want to, some of them cut corners like not waiting long enough for concrete to cure properly or hiring untrained labor forces. I'm not saying new construction is bad. You just want to find a builder who has a quality product. It's going to last a lot longer. Number two, Craig.
Know the
From
hidden
Drew.
costs.
You'll be Drew. You know what? You be Drew.
I'll
I'll
be-
be Jonathan.
Got it. I'm Drew. Which one's the better looking one? Because that's we need
Well,
to do
clearly
this.
that would be Jonathan if I'm Jonathan.
Well, then we've got the
He is now.
backwards. Okay, so know the hidden costs of buying a home, folks. Drew says, over and above the actual purchase price of the home, you may have to dish out some money for land transfer fees, mortgage costs, home insurance, legal costs, and title insurance. Ask your real estate agent for a complete list of all the estimated closing costs, so the only surprises you will get will be the good ones. And of course, folks, this goes hand in hand with working with a certified mortgage planner. Because if you're working with a certified mortgage planner, even if you're not taking out a large loan, in fact, even if you're thinking of paying cash for a home, talk to a certified mortgage planner to get all the facts. They may have some great financial advice for you before you pull the trigger.
The voice of Jonathan, portrayed by Mark McDougall. I can't stress enough how important it is to get a home inspection. Whether you're getting a fixer-upper or something brand new, the seller most likely will cover any costs of a problem that pops up. If you're putting an offer in, make it subject to a home inspection, so that way nobody else is going to swoop in and take the property out from under you. And it gives you enough time to make sure the house is actually a good investment. Folks, it's going to cost you $200 to $400. Don't skip this step.
Not at all. And the next number, or item, I should say.
Hurry up,
is
Drew.
Get to know. Drew stutters a little on these kind of things. Okay?
A little nervous,
Get
aren't
to
you?
know.
I'm
Just kidding.
intimidating you
No,
all the
actually, I'm changing the voice of Drew. Get to know the neighborhood before buying. That's really important, folks. Nothing compares to actually walking the neighborhood prior to buying in a community. So pounding the pavement will give you a clear image as to how noisy it is, the density of traffic, what your neighbors are like. Getting to know the locals will give you that insider scoop as to whether or not this is the kind of neighborhood you will want to raise your family in. You want to circle that block a few times, see if there's any rabid dogs that chase you down. So,
All right,
Next
Drew,
up.
you go again.
don't
Drew.
fall in love. Don't fall for love at first sight. Drew says, I always recommend touring at least 10 homes before you put an offer on one. The first few houses may seduce you aesthetically, but may not really have what you need. When you walk through a home, have a checklist in hand. Write down the pros, write down the cons, and rate that house from 1 to 10. At the end of a long list of house hunting or a long house hunting day, all the houses are going to blend together, and it's that checklist that's going to be the saving grace that will get you into your dream home.
And put safety first when remodeling a home. We make it look like a lot of fun on TV, but things can go seriously wrong if you just blast through a wall with wild ambition. Folks, we'll be back in just a few. Life as you want it. Stay tuned. All right, we're back. Life as you own it. Okay, before the break, we were sharing some home buying and selling tips from the Property Brothers. The last one from Drew. Go ahead, Drew.
Drew says simple staging tactics go a long way toward making a quick sale. So this is flipping it the other way for the home seller, apparently. But depersonalize. You got to depersonalize. Pack up the family photos and artifacts, declutter, clean off the countertops, pack away the knickknacks.
That's Connects.
He says connects, doesn't he? Anyway, as a final touch, make your house sparkle. Wash the windows and clean away the old cobwebs. Simple steps make a huge difference and can lead to the sold sign on your house.
All right, thanks to our friends at HGTV, and thanks to Jonathan and Drew Scott. Keep up the good work, guys. You guys are quickly becoming rock stars of HGTV.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Craig, what's that music? What's the music?
Should someone stay? We don't know who.
All right, should you stay or should you go? Veronica in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My home is worth $155 to $165,000 according to my neighbors. I owe $127,000. My rate is 5.625, and I pay PMI of $83 per month. I have no plans to move, and I have pretty good credit. I've looked into refinancing before, but the fees were pretty high. Stay or go with a refi.
Veronica, go, and go some more.
Go.
You need to refinance. You know what? Those fees were probably too high on that quote you looked at because they were probably gouging you on fees. So guess what? Go with the refi, but hunt around for a lender who will not overcharge you in fees or flat out do a zero-cost loan. You should still be able to get a substantially reduced rate at your loan amount with your equity position. And although you may not have 20% equity, you should be able to even get the PMI bought out with what's called lender-paid mortgage insurance, where the lender pays a mortgage insurance contract on your behalf. The rate might be slightly higher in order to do that, but it'll save you more money in your net payment if that's what you're looking for. Look at a long-term analysis of what's going to save you the most money over the expected life of that mortgage itself. You may live there for 20 more years, but the chances of you having a mortgage for 20 years, slim to none. You'll probably have a mortgage for 5 to 7 years. So check out the math, do it all, do the math formula, and make a smart decision, but take advantage of these lower rates right now.
Hey Craig, would you real quickly kind of recap for our listeners about how a no-cost refi works? Is it magic? Is it just because you're a nice guy that you may be able to offer something that someone else doesn't? How does it work?
Much. That's how it
Yeah.
works. Yep, that's it. So
Okay.
thank you, folks.
Not your
That's all we
looks,
have
that's for sure.
No, the bottom line is when you're paying the fees associated with the sunk costs to get a loan put together, the lender, if you're going to absorb all that cost, could potentially offer you a lower interest rate because you're absorbing all the expense either by financing it in the loan or paying it out of pocket. If you want the lender to absorb those costs, they've got to make that up somewhere. So by charging you a slightly higher rate, they'll earn a slightly higher yield spread premium, which will basically just be passed on to you, given back to you in the form of a credit to cover all the costs. This is just smart for you as a borrower, and it's also smart for a lender who can be offering you a win-win situation. It's just math, so it's not a catch. There's no gimmick to it. It's no, oh, the lender wants to charge me a higher rate and they're trying to talk me into taking a higher rate or any of that baloney. 9 out of 10 times, I will tell you, 9 out of 10 times, a zero cost, no fee type loan where they're not rolling anything in the loan, they're not paying, excuse me, making you pay out of pocket. And even if you're paying a quarter or 3/8% higher rate than you could get by paying a bunch of fees or paying some points, the better deal is the zero cost or very low cost loan. So it comes back to what I said at the beginning of the hour when we were talking about the break-even formula on the website. Go to lifeasyouownit.com, do the math for yourself. Math is simple. And remember, mortgages have a shelf life of about 3 years. Most people keep a loan around 3 years. High end of it, 5 to 6. So you're not going to probably have a mortgage for 11, 12, 13 years. If you're looking at the break-even formula and one loan is the better deal for the next 10 years over the other, that's the way to go probably, folks. Just think about that. Hey, if you've got a serious question, you're looking at a transaction yourself, you're wherever you are in the United States of America, dial 1-800-270-6425, 800-270-6425. You can ask for me. You can say, hey, I want to get a question over to Craig. They'll email me. I can call you back and talk to you over the phone. I'll tell you whether the transaction you're looking at is the best deal for you or not, or whether you can do better. Don't waste a dime. Take advantage of it. I'll be happy to help. All right. What's next, Mark?
All right, so Craig, well, remember, if you're selling your house or if you're a homeowner, there's a couple tax advantages that you have. One is the interest on that home that's associated with the initial acquisition or with home improvements, or up to $100,000 of equity that you may have cashed out. Some clarifications there is deductible. So obviously you know that you're providing that to your accountant each and every year, and you're taking advantage of the deductibility and interest, which means the true cost of home ownership is less because you pay less in taxes. Understand that number. Your mortgage planner should walk you through that as you qualify for a loan and explain how that truly factors into your affordability of that home. Secondly is the selling your house. It's been now 20 years almost since the changes of, it'd be May 7th, 1997, that it changed in that home, it used to be that you had to be over the age of 55, and you could, if you sold your house, you had to use those proceeds to buy, it used to be if you sold your house, you have to use those proceeds to buy another house, or if you're over the age of 55, you had a certain amount of money that's exempt from taxes. Who cares about what that is, because it's changed for almost 20 years. Bottom line is, if you are single and you sell your house, you can have a gain of up to $250,000. That's a gain, not just a sale. So if you bought it for $100,000 and you sold it for $350,000 and you put no additional monies into it, none of that $250,000 extra or that $350,000 total would be taxable if you owed nothing on the house. If you owed $100,000 or you owed $50,000 or you owed zero on the house, you're going to have no taxes if you sold it for that profit up at $350,000. If you sold it for more than $350,000, you just pay taxes on the difference. Long-term taxes on that, capital gains on that. So folks, make sure you understand, if you're married, it's up to $500,000 that you're not going to pay taxes on. There's some other provisions that you need to understand if you're relocating inside of 2 years, and that you've got to live in the house as your primary residence for 2 of 5 years and things like that. But that's why you work with a mortgage planner. If you need more help on it, give us a call, 800-270-6425. Other than that, hang out for the next segment. We'll be back.
Somewhere beyond this, I know. Well, I hope I can find the words to say.
All right, Craig, we all know the significance of the 4th of July, but we've got a few ways you can save a few bucks after the 4th of July. All right, number one, furniture. It's time to hit the thrift stores, consignment shops, and furniture outlets. Now that most people have done their spring cleaning and renovating, their used furniture is on the market. That means a hefty supply, plus low prices, since stores only have so much space. You can also find discounted new furniture in July because the next year's models arrive in stores in early August. Don't be afraid to negotiate on prices. It often works. Number two, Craig.
Computers and tablets. Electronics, folks. Computers and tablets specifically. Usually we see some price decreases starting in early July. These prices continue to drop as the school year gets closer. The best way to stay on top of the hottest deals is to sign up for those e-newsletters from certain retailers that you may frequently shop at or trust as your source for electronics. So remember to take advantage of company and educational discounts that may be available to you, and negotiate for free or discounted accessories if you can. Just give it a shot and try.
All right, grills. If you can manage, hold off purchasing your new grill till after the 4th of July. As you can imagine, they're blowing them out. Everyone wants to buy a new grill before 4th of July. Wait till after. There'll be extra inventory. You can get a good deal. Last is suits. Formal suits are also seldom purchased during the middle of summer. There's not a lot of, you don't have prom during the middle of the summer. You may have some weddings, but people are renting tuxes, so you can find suit retailers are giving you a better deal. And actually, one more bonus one is jeans. If you're in the market for a sweet new pair of jeans, Craig, you've got your new ones with the big diamonds on the back pocket. July is the best time to buy them. Few people buy jeans during one of the hottest months of the year, so retailers put them on sale to move them out for next year's new product. All right, folks,
There's no
save a
diamonds
few
on
bucks in July.
There's a button.
Remember, we say this all the time, Craig. What is it? Don't sign on the phone.
Don't sign, folks, unless you understand what you're signing. And I mean completely. None of this, I think I got, okay, makes some sense. You're sitting across the table from a good salesperson. You kind of trust them. No. You've got to be able to explain it to other people. You've got to be able to say, this is what I did. This is why I did it. This is how I did it. And this is the long-term deal that I'm going to have because of what I've done. I mean, you really need to have a command of this. If you don't feel you have the aptitude or the ability to have a full command of a situation that's majorly financially either detrimental if it goes wrong or whatever, then guess what? Get somebody to help you.
And we're going to have a link to this article. It's an important one for you to read. We can't cover it all because we're down to the last segment, but it's at Practical Money Skills for Life. Great website, great resource for those of you to just get some refreshers, some tips on how to manage your budget. But if you always stop to read the fine print before you're signing, well, you're a rare breed. But make sure that you know that if you do sign, your signature could commit you to a long-term gym membership you don't really want, an apartment you can't afford, or worst of all, paying off someone else's loan you co-signed for. So it doesn't matter the situation. Understand what you're signing. It's an employment contract. Understand it. If it's, like I said, a gym membership, whatever, understand it. You can explain it to someone. Don't get fooled by the fine print, or better yet, don't miss the fine print.
And believe it or not, you may have someone tell you one thing, and the contract says something different. It's happened to me before. You talk about gym membership, young guy, just got out of the military, wanting to maintain my buffitude. Joined a gym. The guy's like, "Oh, you can cancel whenever you want. If you decide you don't like working out here, don't just cancel."
I know
Guess
it's
what?
hard, folks. Read what you're
2-year
signing.
contract. Believe me.
Just say, you know what? I'll take your word for it. I don't want to sign the contract. Just give me the membership. If you
Exactly.
got to sign it, read it.
Yeah.
All right. Also, as we said, we want to make sure that you are not duped by instant hair growth pills, weight loss advertisements, or settlement companies. Understand, folks, most things that advertise as instant gratification on anything, they're usually too good to be true. Rarely is there a magical pill that without any work, it's there suddenly, without any repercussions, you're going to lose all the weight, grow all the hair, or remove all your debt. Folks, understand what you're getting into. Do not give anybody any money up front expecting quick overnight results or even guaranteed results as it relates to debt consolidation companies. It sounds, advertisements that sound too good to be true, well, folks, unfortunately they usually are. It's going to take a little bit of planning and a lot of hard work and some self-discipline to get yourself out of any situation that you've put yourself into. So, without further ado, we're going to bid you farewell. Thanks for
tune in
listening
next week, though.
You got it. And remember, folks, to always
Party naked. I waited long enough. I can't sit. No, we can't.
No,
do
we're
it.
changing that.
I made a pause so it'd be an easy edit for you.
All right.
You didn't pause that long.
Go.
Stay classy. A little shock value there.
I think you got it.